And live in the studio, we have Angela Cheng, Canadian pianist extraordinaire who has made her career not just in North America but abroad, playing not just recital repertoire but as a collaborator in chamber music, and is currently collaborating with Pinka Sukerman, among many others, and is gracing us here in Winnipeg with a wonderful recital including repertoire from Chopin, Beethoven, and Haydn tomorrow night at the Winnipeg Art Gallery in the Muriel Richardson Auditorium. Angela, welcome to Winnipeg and welcome to Classic 107. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, let me start, just because there may be people in Winnipeg who might not know of your illustrious career, but also who may not know you as a human being and how you came into your musicianship. Mm-hmm. Your grandfather was a builder of instruments. Is that correct? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. This is my mother's father. As a teenager, he spent some time in California. And he fell in love with the violin. And so when he went back to China a couple years later, he actually had a factory built, just making violins, making violas, making celli. And this factory still exists.
Amazing.
One of my uncles is, the one who looks after it, and they ship instruments, mostly violins, across the country.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you have siblings who are also string players, is that right?
Right. So all 9 of my mother's siblings, my aunts and uncles, and all the grandchildren had to choose either the violin or the piano.
And you chose the piano.
Well, I didn't. Somebody chose it for me. I don't know what happened. And so for years, I've always wanted to be a violinist.
Oh my gosh.
When I was growing up, I was like, why did I get chose? Why was I given the piano? But I mean, of course, I love the piano now. But as a kid, you always want something that you don't have.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Well, what was it that brought that love of piano to you after wanting to be a string player for so long? What was that turning point for you, do you think?
I think what it was first moving to Canada. It was
that was Edmonton, right?
That was Edmonton. I was 11, and it was a difficult time because I was a good student in Hong Kong. I mean, was used to getting very good grades,
right,
and top of the class, and had friends. And then when we moved to Canada, I no more friends and couldn't speak the language.
Wow. And
music was the only thing that I could communicate, that I could pour my soul in. So that was the thing that drew me to, if I was sad or if I was happy, I would be at the piano. And the frustration with the piano is, it is after all a percussive instrument.
Very much.
I wanted it to have legato and have a singing sound, sustain. Yeah. And so I really, really tried and tried to make the piano sing and project a melody and sustaining.
Well, and that's evident in the massive amounts of accolades you've managed to accumulate over the years and earn. The Rubinstein competition, that was a big win for you. So tell us about that experience of going from being a pianist for yourself, for your emotional well-being, as therapy in so many ways. And you're not the only musician. I mean, this is something that all artists encounter, at least those of us who find refuge in our art, right? How did you go from finding refuge in it to becoming the performer that you are?
Oh, gosh. I've had amazing teachers. Amazing teachers who were wonderful musicians, but not only that, wonderful human beings who really needed, I was just under their great care. And I think that's really the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. It's because of all of this caring from the men, and I would say even extends to the teachers in Hong Kong. It was whoever I was under the guidance, they just not only took care of my development as a pianist, but as a musician, and they felt it was important to not just know about your instrument, but to know how to collaborate with other instruments, like doing chamber music, to go to concerts. I mean, it's such how important that was to be exposed. And, when I was a teenager, the very first teacher I had in Canada bought me a subscription to the Edmonton Symphony.
Oh, that's amazing.
Sunday matinees. I would go, to the very top row of the Jubilee Auditorium and heard people like Gina Bachauer came to Edmonton. Alicia de la Rocha came to Edmonton. Anton Querti came to Edmonton. I still remember all of those concerts.
That's amazing.
And how it affected me. And, listening to their sound and what they're trying to say through their music really inspired me to keep going.
Beautiful. And now, in these adventures that you've had since this time of development, going to Salzburg, hanging out with Pinka Zuckerman, tell us a little bit about how chamber music has influenced your career and influenced your journey as a musician.
Well, I've been so lucky. I've worked now with Pinka Zuckerman for the past 7 years, and it was pure chance. I was invited to play with the orchestra in Ottawa, the National Arts Centre Orchestra, and I had played with him before, but not with him conducting. And then 7 years ago, he happened to be the one who conducted, and we did a Mozart Crucial 503 C major. And after the concert, he just said, "Do you want to play chamber music together?" And I went, "Sure.
Yeah, man.
I would love to." But, I had done some as a student. I had done some in festivals, summer festivals. Right. But since my children arrived, I hadn't really done a whole lot, and definitely nobody as a constant partner.
Yeah. And
so I told him, well, I would be happy to. I don't know a lot of the music. I would be... I'm willing to learn. And he says, well, we'll take it slow and we'll just work on things. So I've been very, very lucky. I mean, you can't imagine how grateful I am, not only to be able to play at these amazing places, but to be able to learn from him. And he's so incredibly generous. And I collected and learned so many things. And my lucky students also learn these things as I pass them along to them. It's just really changed my whole view of music. It's just continue to grow and develop.
That's excellent. Now, as a pedagogue, because you do teach,
yes, I do.
I've been lately, just so you know, I mean, in case you feel like it, you should check it out on our website, classic107.com. Every Wednesday, I release a midweek musicology kind of like just a little fun feature of fun educational things that you can, check out for both lay people and for musicians. And I've gotten into the young people's concerts that Bernstein did with CBS, like back in the day. And the first episode ever that was broadcast on CBS was What Does Music Mean? And of course, this is Leonard Bernstein trying to break down these walls of what we perceive or what we've been taught to perceive about music and gesture from film and television particularly. But then, going into this, what do you find music means most to you? Like, what does real music making mean to you?
That the composer is speaking through me. It's not really words. It's not really, it's a lot of things. I mean, words if it happens to be a song, or words because the piece is inspired by some poetry. But not just words, the feeling, the mood, sometimes even the smell, the sensation, the vocabulary that comes into my mind through my studies and through listening and working with other musicians. You cultivate a sense of what they're trying to say through their music, through these notes. And I'm hoping that as I play them, that I'm able to communicate what they're trying to say.
Profound.
No, not really.
It is, though. It is, because so many musicians, and, this is something that I had a really great conversation with one of your fellow Piano 6 members, Monsieur Hamelin was here, and we had a very similar conversation, and it's beautiful to see that. And I want to just remark, just so that our listeners know, that I've had now, you were the fourth of this Piano 6 group of Marc-André, André Laplante, and Janina was just here. And now this is like, I never dreamed in my life to have that. Even so many. And Angela Hewitt is coming next year, and to play. And hopefully John Kamara Parker, if anybody knows him and can get in touch with him, and tell him to come to Winnipeg and come on my show. I just want to get the set. No, I'm kidding. It is such a pleasure. But speaking of the Piano 6, let's just dive into that for a moment before we get to a little bit of music. Tell me about this Piano 6 group, because it is a really unique kind of group of people you are.
No, I was really honored when Janina asked me to be a part of it. It was it was something that Janina had created, and she wanted the 6 of us, all pianists, to devote 10 days for the next 10 years to just go out into the small communities where they don't have classical music, and sometimes they don't even have a piano. And so, and just play to try to reach young audiences who hasn't been exposed to music, classical music. And so I was, again, very honored to be asked to join this group. And then I got pregnant with my first child.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, how do I do this? But I managed somehow. And those 10 years were amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's just, seeing some of these children's and some of these people's faces, listening, and their reactions to music, that's priceless. It was hard work, because very often there are no airports at these places. So you're driving, and I'm a bad driver to begin with, and then driving in a strange area in the snow where you can't read the signs because it's covered with snow. It was dangerous. And then lifting your suitcase in and out daily out of the back of the car that you're driving. It's hard work. And, we would do more than one thing a day, instead of just playing the evening concert, there will be like maybe a school concert, and then maybe a workshop with the local teachers, so it was packed. 10 very hard-working days, but 10 most rewarding. And I was so happy to be a part of it. And especially in my case, we moved from Hong Kong to Canada, and all of my education, when I left for New York, when I went to Bloomington afterwards, was all paid for by the Canadian government. And I feel I owe so much. And this is just my small way to give back a little bit of what the country has given me. I wish I could live here, but I'm married to an American. He's a wonderful pianist too.
Oh, good. Okay.
But we now live in the States. But this was just when it just felt right to do, and I'm glad to have done it.
Well, we'll take a short break to just listen to a little bit of your playing, and then we'll come back with a little bit of what we can expect from tomorrow night's concert. And we are back in the studio with Angela Cheng, pianist extraordinaire, here to help us celebrate the 25th anniversary of Virtuosi Concerts, honoring also Harry Straub, our founding artistic director, which is very exciting, but celebrating with some brilliant playing from a brilliant Canadian pianist. So welcome again to Winnipeg.
Thank
you. We're
you.
So excited for tomorrow night, me especially.
Oh, thank you.
But tell us what we can expect from tomorrow night's concert.
Well, tomorrow night's concert is a program of music that I really, truly love. We have music of Haydn, music of Beethoven, and music of Chopin. And with all 3 composers, I've programmed some of their most mature and most, I think, special work, their late works in their lives. The Haydn Sonata is one of the late sonatas where he really fell in love with a new forte piano, and it's just very, very interesting and very, very expressive writing for the piano. Beethoven, Opus 110. It's like one of these, if you're stuck in an island, you're allowed to bring 10 recordings. I would definitely bring the score and a recording of this piece. Is one of these pieces that can nurture you for a long, long time. And then of Chopin, the Polonaise Fantasy, which is one of 3 pieces that I'm playing, is, I think, and not only by me, a lot of people regard it as one of his very, very best works. And if only he had lived a bit longer, we may see more and more of this very, very interesting and magical things that he was writing in this piece. So I'm hoping the audience will feel the love that I have for these pieces, and I'm really looking forward to playing it.
Very exciting. What is it that draws you to the later works of these composers? I mean, I am particularly drawn to late Haydn and Beethoven as well. But for our listeners, what is the reason you have chosen these late works?
I don't think it was. I didn't fall in love with all three of these late works at the same time. They're at different points in my life, and it just, I don't know. They are maybe at an age where they are so comfortable, and having studied some of their earlier works myself, I feel like I can see the progression, and that helps me understand this better too. So
I absolutely agree. When these composers get to a place where they have expressed themselves as completely as they feel that they can, and especially with Haydn, with this new instrument, that impulse to experiment and just go that little bit further, that just reach into that never land, or that that you're not supposed to go to, but you do because you're at that place. Well, I'm certainly stoked. I want to talk really briefly though also about the Schumann that you play. Robert, because you just did a recording, didn't you, relatively recently?
Yes. Oh, it was quite a few years ago, but yes, I did record a solo disc of Robert and Clara Schumann, and then I also recorded the piano concerto of Clara Schumann. Right,
which is so underperformed. What is it that you appreciate about Clara Schumann's music?
Well, it's just amazing. When I was asked to do these two projects, I just started to, I didn't know her music. I knew a little bit about her life, but not really. But then I started to read about her life, look at more of her music. I'm just completely in awe. I mean, not only was she a fantastic virtuoso, a rock star, as you said, of the late 19th century, as a pianist, she was married to this musical genius, Robert Schumann, and then very, very close to Johannes Brahms. And, how she had influenced how their music turned out. It's just mind-boggling. And then as a woman, she had 8 children and still inspired all these works. And then she wrote beautiful music that she was not encouraged to do, but it just came out of her. And it really should be played more. It's just a whole lot harder than everything else that's written around that time, because she was so brilliant.
Well, when you know your way around the instrument, you know how to exploit it.
That's right. And she was really something. And that would be amazing to meet her one day.
Oh, I know. It was one of those dinners with, if you could have dinner with anybody alive or dead,
Right, definitely.
Oh, man. Well, Angela, can I just say that it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here in the studio. And I cannot wait for tomorrow night at the Muriel Richardson Auditorium at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Angela Cheng in recital playing late works of Haydn, Beethoven, and Chopin for solo piano. What a joy it will be to hear you sing through this instrument.
Thank you. Thank you.
And please come back anytime.
Oh, I would love
You're
to.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
We'll hear a little bit more music from you in just a moment.